How do you record?
Uh, I've got it recorded on my screen. I guess it's on the one that started the meeting. That's mine to record.
All right.
All right.
All right. Sounds good, man.
All right. Hey everybody, it's David, Unsightly Vinyl here, and I've got my friend Merik in Albuquerque from the Vinyl TRUFFLE, and we are going to talk today to you guys about our favorite albums from the '90s. So Merik and I pulled, 5 to 10 albums each, and thought we'd go through those.
Yeah, I pulled 7.
Yeah, I think I pulled, about the same. So
I could have pulled all 90s or 90s were my heyday, man. Those are my formative years.
Yeah, mine too. I was in high school from 91 to 95. I think I'm 4 years older than you. You're born in what?
Yeah.
81? Yeah. So
81,
yeah. So I was born in 77. So yeah, I grew up in the whole heyday of birth of grunge and all that. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, since you're my guest, you want to go first, Merik?
Oh, sure. Pressure, right? All right. Well, I couldn't. Let's start a little earlier than that. I don't ever see this around much, and this is like this was a big deal to me when I was 14. I remember having these songs stuck in my head freshman year. Can we see that?
Yep.
White Zombie, Astro Creep.
Yep.
This thing, were you familiar with this album, Dave?
Maybe 1 or 2 songs off it. I don't have that one. I was more familiar with Hellbilly Deluxe.
Okay. I just got this last week. I hadn't thought about it in years. And I played it on Spotify to see if I wanted to pick it up, and all of it just came flooding back, man. It's such a cool, it's like creepy, was it like horror movie thrash? I don't know how to explain it. It's freaking awesome though, man. Like,
what was
really
that one?
What's that?
What was the single off that one?
More Human Than Human was the big one.
Okay.
And then I know there was one more single. I can't remember which one it was though. Yeah, freaking awesome album, man. The closer is this song Blood Milk and Sky that is it sounds like it belongs on a like on a Ministry album, but the whole album is pretty Ministry, but it's fucking awesome, man. It's
Hellbilly Deluxe isn't what I'm familiar with. Living Dead, Girl, and Dragula, those are the ones that I'm most familiar with from Rob Zombie.
Yeah, that was his solo stuff. So he still had a band at this point. I mean, he had a band with his solo stuff. I actually went to one of their shows, but I kind of fell out. I saw a documentary once, and the guitarist was writing his riffs on a computer and then transcribing them to guitar. And that, like, I'm a guitarist, and then like I was more of a purist back then, and it like hurt. I was like, oh, like
that's kind of cheap.
I'm a little burning now, but that bugged the hell out of me when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Well, the first one I pulled was the Black Crowes.
Oh, nice.
Shake Your Moneymaker. Just remember when this came out, of course the big hit was Hard to Handle, but like songs like Jealous Again and Twice as Hard, it wasn't the hair band stuff that I was used to, like from Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue and Poison and all them, that was kind of starting to die out, and then this came out. It was a welcome change. I was super excited to hear this. It was kind of a throwback to the early 70s rock and that style of music, so it was good.
Yeah, I remember, I mean, it had to be a single off that one, but I don't remember the song of it. I never got really into the Black Crowes. I probably heard more of them when they started working with Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Worked with Jimmy and did like the Zeppelin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've never, I don't think I've ever even heard that album in its completion.
Oh yeah, it's got some good
Check
stuff.
that out.
Yeah, I mean, the big hits off this obviously were Twice as Hard, Jealous Again, Hard to Handle, which was that Otis Redding cover, and then She Talks to Angels. But it's got some solid tracks on it. I personally like the second album more than this album. But this is a good, solid debut album from the Black Crowes. So I'd check it out.
Maybe I'll ask. All right. I remember when this came out, a lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't quite as like thrash. This is Pantera,
Mm-hmm.
Big Southern Trendkill, and they got really. Phil Anselmo was like super strung out on heroin. They wrote it from like two separate sides of the country. Phil was like in New Orleans, and the rest of the guys were wherever. And the songwriting's really dark. There's a couple songs about like death and overdose, and there's a song about like Armageddon. And then there's a song that he worked with Trent on production on, Floods. Freaking great song. It's got 2 solos in it. I'm pretty sure like Guitar World, they're still ranked way up in the top as far as guitar solos go. Like probably top 10 on one of them for the top, best guitar solos ever.
Yeah,
Dimebag, an amazing guitarist.
yeah. I would say that was Dimebag Darrell's band, right?
Yeah. Before this was the first band he was in, and then they broke up, and he went into Damage Plan, and Damage Plan is the band he was with when he got killed.
Yeah. Pantera wasn't one of those bands that I was into. I never really got into the thrash metal, heavy metal stuff. Metallica's about as heavy as I ever got.
Okay. This is about as heavy. I mean, I didn't get much heavier than that. That's that's about as heavy as I got. But man, great album. You have to check that out, man, because it doesn't get too heavy. Guitar is killer.
Is it like speed metal? Is it? Would you call it that?
Groove metal. That is what it's called. Yeah, I think. Just really like groovy riffs. Dimebag was really great at those, and he was like a virtuoso. So he'd like experiment a lot. So he used a lot of amp techniques, and like he used like power tools to interfere with the pickups at one point to make some really cool noises.
So yeah, it's kind of like Tom Morello, right?
Oh yeah. I think Tom Morello got a lot of inspiration from Dimebag.
Yeah. So, yeah, because Tom Morello used the power drawer, right? On one of his songs from Rage, or am I thinking?
I think so. Yeah. Tom Morello does a lot, man. He has a different technique for every song. I think every solo.
Yeah. I think I saw him. I think he was performing with Bruce Springsteen of all people, and he was using different tools on the fretboard and sliding his hand up and down the neck, and just it was crazy to see Tom Morello with Bruce Springsteen, but just the sounds he was getting, it was great.
Yeah, hey, that's cool. They took a lot of. Have you ever heard Rage's cover album? They did all covers, and they cover a Springsteen song. A Springsteen. Fuck, that's a tongue twister. Springsteen song. There we go.
Is it the Ghost of Tom Joad?
Yeah. Ghost of Tom Joad.
Yeah.
Each member chose 3 songs to cover, so it's kind of varied. The album's varied. Pretty cool.
So is it an album of all Springsteen cover songs, or just that one?
No, just that one song. So it's all over the place. They cover MC5. They cover Cypress Hill, Springsteen, Dylan. I'm pretty sure there's a Dylan cover on there. Maybe not. But yeah. All right. Your turn.
All right. So this came out in 90.
Oh.
91 maybe? 92. REM, Automatic for the People. This was their follow-up to their successful Out of Time album. Um, lead single off this one was Drive. I just really liked that acoustic guitar, and the lyrics were kind of not really dark, but it just the mood of the song just kind of had a dark sound to it. This is produced by Scott Litt. This was one of the first CDs I ever owned. This is back when I had just gotten my first Walkman, and this is one that I played the hell out of. So this is had a special place in my heart for this album. So REM, Automatic People.
I've been wanting to grab some art.
Those are the tracks.
Okay. All right. I remember Man on the Moon,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah, that was a
And,
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to pick up some REM. I keep seeing them, when I'm looking at stuff to buy, and I almost pulled the trigger a few times, probably getting there. All right. Had to show this. Probably one of my most listened to records of all time. 90s or not, but especially the 90s. I think this is when I found my way. This album really helped me figure out who I was and who I wasn't, maybe more particularly. Let's see if we can see the track list. I don't know if we can.
Yeah.
Boom. I have this tiny little window to figure things out.
Yeah, Killing in the Name. Yeah, that's the one I recognized. Bullet in the Head. Yeah, I think Killing in the Name was on the was that on the Matrix soundtrack?
I'm not sure, man. Wow.
I think
it's been a long time I've seen a Matrix, but I do know there was some Rage on one of them.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, that's a band that I'm not I don't have in my collection, but one I've been meaning to pick up. That album in particular. Is there another album they have out that's kind of got like a yellow cover with like a cartoon character on it or something? Or am I thinking that, yeah.
That's Evil Empire.
Yeah.
That's their stuff. This has Bulls on Parade.
Yeah.
Which it was the lead single off it. And then People of the Sun, I believe, was a single. Yeah, this thing's amazing too. I could choose between the two on which is my favorite.
I see the first one you showed more often in the stores than I do that one. Is that one you get hold of, or is that one?
I don't think so. I got mine. Mine's a Newberry Comics repress. It's on red. But I don't know. I see the self-titled everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think this one's hard to find. Yeah.
How many albums did they release before they broke up?
4. They have the let's see. This is their third. It's the Battle of Los Angeles.
That one too a lot. I see that one, the first one, and then the one I think the fourth one was like Rage, with like in the red and blue cover. Is that
yeah. This is the cover album.
Yeah. Okay. So I see those three more than I do that Bulls on Parade for whatever reason.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, get around to it if you want. There's some good stuff, man.
So would you recommend the first one to start with?
Yeah. I actually couldn't choose between the first two, and then the Covers album was one of my favorite albums. And I love the third one, but I mean, mine sounds like shit. It's from it's We Are Vinyl, Sony Legacy, and it just sounds like crap. So I couldn't recommend that. I know there's other presses out there, but yeah, that first one's amazing. I mean, every track is just there's no skips. If it was a CD, there's no skips across either one.
So is Rise Against, is that like a bootleg copy, or is it an official pressing of it?
They're all official.
Okay. just a bad copy maybe, or just a bad pressing?
Yeah, it's a bad copy.
Okay.
I guess We Are Vinyl. I've heard that they're hit or miss. So I have a couple Prince albums on that label, and they're fine. But maybe this was harder to mix or cut. It was harder to make it sound right.
I just got a copy of a Prince album that didn't sound that great to me. It was the Versace.
Gold.
Yeah.
Versace
Experience, whatever it was. It didn't sound very good. It sounded kind of muffled.
What's it pressed on?
Let me check.
Usually have a big sticker on it that says "We Are Vinyl" right on the front. So, and then there's always a download code on the back of a card that says the exact same thing inside.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding it. I'll have to find it. I don't see it right. I think it might have been We Are Vinyl. I don't have it handy, or I'd look.
Yeah, that rage that's on that label sounds muffled. The vocals are buried really bad.
For me, it's the opposite. I can hear Prince's vocals clear, but it's just like the bass and everything else just sounds really kind of. It's hard to distinguish the bass from the guitar and everything else. It just sounds like it's all
no dynamic.
Yeah.
Muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that way about that album too.
Yeah.
Besides being just the lyrics kind of blend in with everything else, the vocals are just almost kind of gone.
Yeah. I bought it for my wife. She's a big fan of that song, Pussy Control. And it's the version on that album isn't the original version, so she hates it. I'm just like, well.
Yeah. I used to hate remixes when I was younger.
Yeah, I was the same way. And I was never really a fan of live music either, but I mean, as I've gotten older, I can appreciate some live albums, but others I'm just like, I hate when they change the song up so drastically that you can't. Yeah, so. All right, my album is Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream.
Oh.
Did you pull out too?
Not that one.
Oh, Melancholy?
Yeah.
This came out, I think in 93. 93 or 92, but they weren't quite like all the other grunge music that we were hearing, like from Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. This was almost kind of shoegazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the whole album itself isn't shoegazy, but there are some songs you can pick out. But I just really like. I mean, the first single I think was Cherub Rock off this one, but the one that really drew me into the album was Today. And then, of course, Disarm came out. But my favorite track off this album is probably Soma. And it's like one of the least heaviest songs on the album.
Yeah.
It's a great album. That's a great track. I just really like how Billy Corgan just layers his guitars and uses all his effects, the heavy reverbs, the phasers, and all that stuff. It's just, I think he's sometimes underrated as a songwriter. I mean, I think he's great.
Yeah, I'd agree. He's underrated as a songwriter quite often. I think he gets. I mean, not that they're underrated. They're a huge band and they were super popular. But looking back, I think they kind of get lost in all the other great bands that were out at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
You were a little more mellow and shoegazy, at times. Yeah, you're right. Disarmed is one of my favorite Smashing Pumpkins songs. I don't have that album yet.
Yeah, I don't know why this album came on like the orange cover. I mean, I prefer the white one, but I mean this kind of got the metallic foil to it as well.
Yeah, I was gonna. It was a metallic.
Yeah,
you can definitely see it.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You pull it too? Oh, okay.
It's my FPP. Yours is newer. It's like you have kind of the foil background on it? Is that the 20?
Yeah, 2019 Rhino,
Okay.
20
Well,
Rhino Press.
yeah.
Got 3 CDs and a DVD. Wait, no, just 3 CDs in it. So it's got B-sides, and then it's got a full concert out of Connecticut, which is dope.
Oh wow.
And then it came with like like a book that's more than just the CD book would have been. It's got some extra stuff in it. Great picture on the inside.
Yeah, mine's just this. It's not even gatefold. It's just the sleeve with the gracious melodies on the back.
Yeah, I remember picking this up. I went to Colorado for the summer to see she wasn't my stepmom anymore, but she had been, and my brother. And we went to the mall and picked this up like the day it came out. Man, this album is it's so good. It holds such a place in my heart. Man, yeah, I really love this album, and their first album were my favorites.
Their first 3, I mean, were just fantastic in my opinion. The third one, Tiny Vatican Music, or Tiny Music from the Vatican Gift Shop, was a little more on the poppier side than Purple and Core. I think Purple was kind of like right in the middle, right? Because
Right.
Core was a little heavier. Purple was a little more, I guess, upbeat. But yeah, Interstate Love Song, I mean, that's just, today, that's one of my favorite songs from STP. Big Bang is another one. Just that whole album in its entirety is great. I'm curious, how did that mix sound? Did it sound great? I mean,
it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Perfect.
I may have to get in that copy.
It's a good deal, man. I mean, yeah, it's $50, but I mean, how often do we pay $40 for just a record, or whatever? And then you get the 3 CDs and that live show. I mean, I think it's worth it. I almost wanted to get it just because of the big fat spine, like, I can see it from across the room sitting in my records.
So is the live show also on CD?
Yeah. Everything's on CD except the main album is on LP, but then there's also a CD copy of it too. So
okay,
you get
is the main album? Is it 2 albums or just 1 disc?
Just 1 LP.
Okay.
So it doesn't sound like it got crammed on there at all. Yeah. Is yours a single or double?
I think you were the one that explained to me why albums get pressed on 2 albums, because I was complaining one day in my videos about, I hate having to get up and flip over albums that are 45 RPM half speed masters, whatever. And you were explaining to me that anything over, maybe it was you or maybe it was John, the digital gramophone, but someone explained to me that anything that's more than 40 minutes has to be pressed onto a double LP. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. And I think we talked about it, but I don't remember getting into details. But yeah, sometimes I'll pick an album strictly that's one LP, so I don't have to flip it a bunch, because I don't want to get up. But yeah, they sound better, and then you get away from the intergroove distortion as well, because the needle has a harder time tracking the closer to the label it gets, the farther in. So when you get only 3 songs aside, they only take up that much of the record. And then the dead wax, huge, but you get away from that intergroove distortion.
Yeah. All right. I pulled Vitalogy as my next favorite album from the 90s. I could have pulled any of the first 3 albums from Pearl Jam. This came out, I think, my senior year in high school, or maybe in my junior year. But 94, I was a junior going into my senior year. Just a fantastic album.
Yeah.
I really liked off this album Corduroy. That's my favorite track. But then you got songs like Immortality, Nothing Man, Trimmer Christ, Not For You. I just saw Pearl Jam for the first time in concert. I guess it was in 2017, and they put on a hell of a show. And they played several songs from this. I was surprised, but I mean, they played uh, Immortality and Better Man, and of course Corduroy. You know, it was a great show. It was the first time for my wife and I to see Pearl Jam live, and it was just awesome. This is from my high school senior year. I mean, I wore this album out, so Vitality.
Yeah, I remember borrowing that from a girlfriend my freshman year. Freshman year, and man, Not For You Not For You is one of my favorite PJ songs, but I think now Tremor Christ is probably my song. I love that song. Favorite song off that album. But you know, like you said, I could have picked any one of those three as well. They're you know, they're canon. They're 90s canon basically.
Yeah, I mean that could have been the case for several of these bands. I mean, Gish was a great album from Smashing Pumpkins. I didn't discover them until Siamese Dream, but I mean, Gish was great. Of course, Siamese Dream, and then Infinite Sadness and Melancholy. I mean, that was a great album as well. Double album, actually.
Yeah, huge album. Yeah, so that's probably the 2017 remaster, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Man, those sound great. That reissue series, all three of mine are on that same reissue series. My first three. It's got a tactile cover, right? Like bumpy, like you can feel it. Yeah. I think it's probably the 2017 reissue. Mine is as well. But man, those sound so good. All right. I think I might grab something else instead of that Smashing Pumpkins. But for now.
I didn't mean to spoil it for you.
Oh, no worries. No worries. We've talked about them now. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
I am familiar with that.
Awesome. Candlebox. Man, I tried so hard to get this on vinyl. And then when I finally get it, I finally grabbed this for like $20. And then it shot up in value on Discogs. You know, you couldn't find one for less than 100. And then they announced the music on vinyl repress, and it shot down in value. But no worries there. This one is missing they had to cut a track due to time, because it's it's kind of a long album, so they cut Bloom off of it, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, not quite, but you know, it's still bugged. So I've been meaning to get the music on vinyl release, and I haven't yet. And I'm sure it sounds amazing, because this thing sounds kind of compressed, and it still sounds, man, if you go onto Spotify and stream this album, it sounds so compressed. It's like the bass is non-existent, and it just sounds super digital. So the vinyl pressing actually sounds better than if you stream it, like a lot better. But I think I need to upgrade.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with like one or two songs from Candlebox. There were some bands in the 90s that I didn't get into. Like Alice in Chains was one that I wasn't really heavily into. Candlebox was another one. I was familiar with Soundgarden. I didn't get into them until much later as well. So yeah, some good stuff that I need to go back and revisit. And I'm trying to get the Alice in Chains stuff now on vinyl. As of right now, Dirt and Unplugged. I went to Roland Rex the other day to look for a tripod. Yeah. Sold out, so I'm keeping my eye out for that one as well.
Yeah, he restocks a lot, so he's always restocking that one. You'll get it.
Candlebox, they had another album, Lucy. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. This album was actually a double album.
Okay, it was
Yeah, so Lucy's their sophomore album, and they continued to write music. They're still together. Right. And then I didn't even like Lucy. I never liked anything else really they did. That's why that was so hard to find. their debut had never been pressed until it got pressed with Lucy, and that was like I think 2017 or 18 is when that's from. So it had never been pressed all those years. I thought it hadn't been pressed, and then someone in the VC clued me in that it was on the other side of that Lucy, because I'd seen Lucy in the store and not realizing if I would have flipped it over, I would have seen that it was also that record. But or if I'd have paid attention to the hype sticker said it too. But I had no interest in buying Lucy. So I think that album gets overlooked a lot. They were late to the scene, they were late to the Seattle scene because they're from that area. Mm-hmm. But it was a few years later, and it's like really awesome blues, like blues rock / grunge, the guitarist brings a lot of blues to it, and it's awesome. Pretty unique, I think, at least as far as I know.
Yeah, Stone Gossard has a lot of blues influence in his playing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty, but so is Candlebox more along the lines of Alice in Chains or more Pearl Jam?
More Pearl Jam.
Okay.
Yeah, more Pearl Jam. Definitely. Those are two far sides of the grunge spectrum. Yeah. So yeah, definitely more Pearl Jam. But definitely heavier than Pearl Jam. At times, I don't know. It's maybe they're right in the same lane. I think just different.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about Core because it was heavier, I thought, than Pearl Jam. But at the same time, it's easy to hear that Dean DeLeo was inspired by Jimmy Page, and you could hear it in a lot of his album or guitar work and stuff. So. Yeah, Pearl Jam.
I love
this next band I'm going to show, STP. Those were my 3 go-to bands in the grunge. I couldn't pick one, so I'm going to show these 3 albums. Just great. I mean, Nevermind, In Utero, and Unplugged. I don't have Incesticide or Bleach. I'm not really a fan of Incesticide. I like Bleach, but these 3 are just who I think of, or I listen to when I think of Nirvana.
Yeah, I could see that. I love Incesticide as well, but I got into it early. It's a lot punkier than their other stuff. It's it's
were they?
You can hear the
or like album, or I never. It wasn't an official studio album.
No, it was a bunch of like outtakes and stuff that had never got published. Mm-hmm. And so when Nirvana signed with when they left Sub Pop to go to Geffen, part of the deal was that Geffen would release this unreleased material that spanned from 88 to like 92. And then Kurt would get to do the artwork.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all Kurt artwork. Pretty cool. Yeah, but the 3 you showed are my favorite. I think In Utero is my absolute. It's my favorite Nirvana.
Yeah, that's tough because I really like almost every track on this album, and the same with Nevermind. It's so hard to pick. I like this one, and it well, I wouldn't really call it heavier. This just sounds really polished. This sounds a little more raw, I think, which is why I kind of lean more towards In Utero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just Kurt Cobain. He was. I hate that we lost him so early, but man, he was a genius.
Yeah, real early. You need to get your hands on this copy. Considering what you said, this one's even grungier, even dirtier, because Geffen shelved this. This is the original recording, and Geffen shelved it because it was too grungy.
Is that the Albini mix?
Yeah, Albini Press.
Yeah.
Mix, whatever you want to call it. Phenomenal, man. This is. I hadn't listened to Nirvana in a long time. I think I burnt myself out on them, and along with the radio. And I think that's why Nevermind's my least favorite. because it got so played out. But my friend let me borrow this pressing, and I fell in love with them again. I mean, and this thing's just dirty. It's so good.
Yeah. I've sampled some of that. In fact, I almost bought that one time. Well, I think I want to hold out for this one, but what I heard was really good. Like you, I kind of got burnt out for a long time on Nirvana. Radio was always playing stuff from Unplugged or from Nevermind, but you don't hear a lot on the radio from In Utero.
No, it just had 2 singles, I think.
Great song. I mean, Heart Shaped Box, yeah, you'll hear occasionally, but you always hear the Unplugged version.
Yeah. Yeah. The side C and D on this are just phenomenal.
And this is Kurt Cobain's artwork, right? The back, isn't that his artwork?
It could be. I don't know. I just that other thing I picked up was just one of those tidbits you kind of know, but then I'm not sure about that. I'm sure you could find possibly in the liner notes it might say who designed it, but then it might not. Sometimes you don't get liner notes. Sometimes you don't get anything. All right, so it's my turn. Well, I couldn't talk about the 90s without talking about Soundgarden. This is probably, this is my favorite Soundgarden. I remember, I was hooked on Super Unknown. I love that album. But so I remember being 14 and on our local radio station, they played the lead single off this, which is Pretty Noose. And from those first guitar notes, I was in love, and I think this is a more mature album. They're both pretty mature as far as songwriting goes. This one's just a little more refined, and it's a pretty far cry from their earlier stuff. It is so damn good. There's some deep cuts on this that don't get a lot of love, like Zero Chance and Tighter and Tighter, that are, man, they might be some of the best songs ever written. It's so fucking good.
Does that album have Show Me How to Live? Is that Super Unknown?
That's Audio Slave.
Okay. No,
Chris Cornell, but different band.
Yeah, the day I tried to live is off Super Unknown. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's one of my favorites.
I was so happy when Audio Slave, that first single was Cochise.
Yeah.
Like a 30 seconds in, we knew that, those bands didn't break up in vain. Like there was more. Like it was like I was over the moon when that Audio Slave record got released. As I was a huge Rage fan. I still remember where I was when they broke up. When I heard it, I can still see myself sitting in my car, just like, no, like, just. And same with, Soundgarden broke up when I was pretty young. I was like 15, and then, so it's good, great album, man.
Yeah, I don't have any of the Audio Slave on vinyl. That's one I want to get as well. Cochise, I remember where I was when I heard that for the first time too. I wasn't a Rage fan, but just hearing that opening, the heavy drums and the kind of like was it the guitar pick or something going down?
Yeah. Yep.
Man, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was. So happy with it, and that Audio Slave is readily available. You can get it. You can pick it up at Barnes & Noble or Target, but their other two, their sophomore and their third album, are expensive as hell. They never got repressed, so I think one of them goes for about $150 and the other one goes for like $2 or $3.
Wow.
I don't have those either.
I've got some honorable mentions.
Right.
Only because I talk about them all the time, but in the 90s, this is another trilogy in my opinion. The three.
Oh.
I show them all the time, but it was all I listened to in '97. Well, I guess '94 to '97. Great albums. This especially was so much better than the first one, and then the OK Computer came out, and it was just like a masterpiece in my opinion.
Yeah, that album is a master. I don't have it yet, but I've been filling holes as well as buying new music, you know. So it's kind of hard to catch up with everything, but that I've almost grabbed it a few times. I'm sure it'll be sometime soon.
Yeah, and then these were some other ones that I was going to honorable mentions.
Oh,
16,
I thought about
Oasis. And
I love that album. Oh, nice. See, the Verve, that's Bittersweet Symphony, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
never got into it, but man, that Oasis album is like, it had like 5 singles off of it, I think, right? Like 4 or 5. Man, that thing was great. I didn't think to grab any honorable mentions, but I will show in one of the greatest soundtracks ever written or ever made, ever put together. And this is a 90s beast. It's just filled with like these.
I had that hand on liquor store day and I put it back.
Silly man.
I know.
Yeah, it goes for like 160 on the low end right now on Discogs. I'm always looking it up because, but yeah, dude, it's just nonstop, just craziness. And the Violent Femmes song on this album is amazing. The Rage song is interesting. It's Rage Against the Machine, but then they're covering a song from Zach's old band.
Oh,
so like what Zach was in before Rage Against the Machine, that's that song Darkness is their song. And then it's got a bunch of covers on it, like Pantera's doing a cover, Rawlings Band's doing a cover, and then a couple songs were actually written for this soundtrack. Freaking awesome, man. This soundtrack is.
Isn't SCP on there? SCP or the thing?
Yeah, Interstate Love Song. Oh no, Big Empty. My bad.
Big Bang.
Yeah.
Solo Song, are they on there as well?
No, I'll read it off. We got The Cure with Burn, and Only Place to Find That track. Machines of Loving Grace, Stone Temple Pilots, Nine Inch Nails, Rage, Violent Femmes, Rollins Band, Helmet, Pantera, For Love Not Lisa, that's like a unknown band, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, The Jesus and Mary Chain, Medicine, and then It Can't Rain All the Time was a song in the movie, like, you know, sung by Brandon Lee's band. But it's by Jane Sidbury on this. I have no idea who that is. But this thing it's amazing, man. As far as soundtracks go, because I don't really do a lot of soundtracks, and that one is phenomenal.
Yeah, I know you recently got the Natural Born Killer soundtrack, and that was like your number 2 of all time.
Yeah. That one's great too. A lot of the same. I mean, it's kind of that same vibe, you know, and like industrial, heavy. Yeah, I love that soundtrack too. And that soundtrack's got like cuts, like so it's got like movie cuts, you know, so like voice lines from the movie. But the only problem with it, and I didn't know this before I bought it, is a lot of the songs are cut down just like they're cut down in the movie, you know? So it won't actually be the full song. Yeah, a pretty big bummer. So you get the vibe of the movie more. The only full song may be that Nine Inch Nails song that's on it, Burn, which is good because like it's the only place to get that song, and I'd have been pissed if that was cut down.
Yeah.
But it's still an awesome soundtrack.
So I know you're not a fan of soundtracks so much, but do you have Lost Highway? That's another great soundtrack.
I do not, but I'm meaning to get it. Yeah, that's produced by Trent. Trent Reznor. Yeah, definitely want to get that. That's huge. Speaking of, I mean, did you ever get into Nine Inch Nails? Like,
that's the only album I have.
Oh, okay.
I've had my eye on With Teeth. I really like that album too. But yeah, this is the only one I have. It's just
Okay, Pretty Hate Machine. Yeah, they were. That was one of the bands that really broke me into the whole scene. Really, I think I was still looking for myself, and didn't even know. I'd been listening to music since I was like little kid. I bought tapes when I was a kid rather than toys, but I still didn't. I hadn't found my musical identity yet. I was just kind of listening to this and that. I had probably had Escape on tape and TLC and SWV and some country and some Tupac and like kind of everything.
yeah.
And then Nirvana and Nine Inch Nails were the bands that just grabbed me just grabbed me, and I never looked back.
I used to buy a lot of singles and stuff. I mean, I was into everything from Aerosmith and Cinderella and Poison and Bobby Brown,
Yeah.
Garth Brooks. I mean, that was the first concert I ever went to see Garth Brooks. And then, yeah, all this came off of Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam and Nirvana. And then I got heavy into the Beatles, like my junior or senior year in high school, and then just kind of went the whole Brit rock route. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Man, Garth used to put on around that time. Man, he put on a hell of a show. Like,
Yeah,
I always wanted to go to a Brooks concert, but I never got to. We don't always get the bands through here in New Mexico. Sometimes they just don't even, bands that are tours, they don't necessarily stop here.
Isn't Albuquerque is it a fairly big city?
No, not at all.
No.
It's a very small city. Like, the population of our state is still like just over 1 million. Like, Albuquerque's it's small as far as cities go. Yeah, so it is what it is. But we've missed out a lot. Like, I've never had a chance to see Pearl Jam. They've never come here. Rage has never come here. Garth Brooks never came here, at least when I was younger. A lot of bands just never came here. You have to go to Phoenix or El Paso to see them.
Yeah. There's bands like Radiohead that I've never seen. They always go to the big cities like Chicago or Nashville or up north, and that's one of my bucket list bands to see, but I probably never will. I've always wanted to see Eric Clapton, but his ticket prices are just so freaking expensive that I'll probably never see him either. But yeah, so I didn't realize that Albuquerque was not really a major tour spot.
Yeah, no, man, not at all.
So how far away?
I wish. What's that?
How far away is Phoenix from you?
It's about 8-hour drive.
That's a nice concert.
Yeah, about 8-hour drive, and then El Paso's like a 4 or 5 hour drive. And I've been down there to see a couple bands. I saw Tool down there. I saw Tomahawk down there. But I never went to Phoenix to see a show. And that's
have you been in New Mexico your whole life?
Yeah, I lived in California for a couple of years when I was a kid. But I was born here, and I ended up back here again, and then and now I'm here. I've been here for a long time, like 20 years since I moved back, and I don't think I'll ever. Maybe once the kids are grown, depending on what they do. Because if they stay here, I don't imagine we'll leave.
Yeah.
But if they leave, who knows?
Yeah, I've been in Kentucky my whole life. My wife wants to move away, but until my parents go or the kids move out of state, I'm pretty sure we'll be here for a while.
Yeah, I couldn't leave the family we have here. I don't really have family, but my wife and her family they're like super close. They were one of those families that did everything together. Her older sister moved out here and had a kid. So then her parents followed. And then when my wife graduated college, the parents convinced her to move out here.
Yeah.
So they've barely been apart their whole life. So I would never want to even encourage splitting that up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
45 minutes from my hometown, and get grief over that from my siblings and parents sometimes about not coming up to see them as often as I should. So, I mean, I can't imagine leaving the state, how much grief. So,
Yeah. I'm about 45 minutes from my hometown, where I spent, where I went to high school. And it's weird to say hometown because I was shuffled around a lot as a kid, but that's where I went to high school, I guess, and it's where my mom and her parents live. I guess it's where I would call my hometown, and I don't make it down there near enough. So yeah, I couldn't imagine being any farther. I'd never, and I hate flying. So
no.
yeah, it's weird. Driving's interesting than flying, but the thought of getting on a plane, just it's not something I'm excited to do. So
Yeah.
I don't need to at this point.
Oh, do you have any more you want to show, Merik, or?
No, I mean, I think that's it. It was a really hard subject, but there's so much in the 90s.
In the 90s, it hasn't been pressed on vinyl yet. So, I mean, there's
yeah.
I mean, I had Weezer, but I mean, that was another one I was going to throw out there. But just another one of those albums that came out in my high school years that just got lots of listens to on CD.
Yeah.
I mean, ever, but it just got some good stuff on it.
I'm surprised you didn't show Manson. I was gonna pull a Manson, but I figured you would, so I didn't.
Oh.
And then
I only have the one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I only have two. His stuff is super expensive and non-pressed. Every record up until, I mean, his first 5 are just hard to find. Even bootlegs of Mechanical Animals are like $70. That's a lot for a bootleg, but
I mean,
it's like 100 otherwise.
Price was kind of expensive, but
yeah, dude, it's.
I really only like 3 of his albums. I like Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals, and Hollywood. That's really the only 3 that I'm fans of. The stuff that's come out recently, there's 1 or 2 songs on it. I've always liked Manson for his cover songs. I mean, he does great covers. I mean,
he does great covers.
He did a cover of Carly Simon's "You're So Vain."
Yeah, I remember that.
That song from the Lost Boys, "Cry Little Sister."
Okay.
You heard that?
No, I haven't. What's that on? Do you know?
I think it was only a single, but it was.
Okay.
It's awesome. And then he did a cover of, I think, Helter Skelter with Rob Zombie. I'm just like, wow.
Wow. I haven't heard that either. I haven't been into Manson in a long time. I didn't even like Hollywood, but now I have it. It's a good album. I got it. I realized it was better than I thought, but I like his earlier work. Their debut, and then their follow-up was Smells Like Children, and then Antichrist was the third one. The debut was Portrait of American Family, and that's real heavy, thrashy, awesome. I love it, man. But you can't get a copy for less than $500. Same with Smells Like Children. So I'm just waiting. James at Rollin' Rex said that eventually he's supposed to get those. So hopefully.
Yeah. The last Manson album that I listened to was I don't remember what the title of the album was, but it had a song "If I Was Your Vampire."
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
lost track. I mean,
is it Golden Age of Grotesque, or it's even after that?
Maybe a little after that.
I mean, there's so many, and I just haven't been into them. I think the world's kind of changed too. Like, you know, the world's moved on, because back when he was in his heyday, the shit he said offended people,
Yeah.
and the shit he said shocked people. And now it's just, it doesn't. Now it's just like, man, it's been said before by him most likely, but it, you know, it's just, I don't know if it's regurgitated or not.
Yeah.
I just can't get into it to listen to it enough.
It was the album Eat Me, Drink Me, which came out in 2007.
Oh, okay.
And that was really kind of the last I've heard from him until recently, when he released that Cry Little Sister and I think it was Helter Skelter with Rob Zombie. They're on YouTube. You can look them up, but man, they're good singers.
I will look him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a cover recently of a Johnny Cash song.
Oh, did?
Yeah, he released it on a 12-inch, and it was a picture disc, and it was a self portrait. Yeah, I love his art style. It's really cool, but I hated this song, so I didn't pick up that picture disc, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go for quite a bit. But
it's kind of funny that Johnny Cash covered a Trent Reznor song, and then you have Marilyn Manson
covered a Johnny Cash song, yeah, and it might have even been a song Johnny Cash covered. I don't.
Oh.
Get your gun. I don't know, but yeah, I never got into Johnny Cash, so I don't know. You know, I don't know his library very well.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot of Johnny Cash. I mean, I know you hear a lot about the Rick Rubin recordings, and I hear they're really good. I mean, but aside from Hurt, that's the only song I can probably name from those sessions. I don't know. Johnny Cash, I mean, there was a big resurgence when that movie came out, and I Walked the Line, but just not followed.
Yeah, not my type either. It's not my. I'm not a big fan of his singing style. I'm not a big fan of a lot of country, really country at all. There's a few artists I like. No matter what type of country they are, it's just not a genre I get into.
Yeah. I grew up.
So yeah.
My dad.
Yeah, you would think
music,
where you're from.
Yeah. I mean, there are bands that I like. I mean, Dad was always singing Randy Travis and Vern Gosselin and all these people. I mean, I appreciate that music, but it's not something I listen to.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I know a ton of '90s country, because I'm from a rural area, you know, farming community, and yeah, I know a ton of '90s country. And the only thing that really carried over is Garth Brooks. That, you know, that's the only thing I'd care to own on vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90s countries was when I kind of started listening to it more. I mean, you had like Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney and all those.
Yeah.
Trace Adkins and all those people. But yeah, Garth Brooks is really the only one that I really appreciated, I guess. So. Well, that's all I had, Merik, unless you want to show us some more albums.
No, I'm good, man. I think I'm good. Well, I appreciate you liking me, man. That was really cool of you.
Yeah. This was fun. We'll have to do it again soon. Maybe do a different topic or latest finds.
Oh yeah.
Some great stuff.
We can spitball a couple topics. Make sure we both have, you know, an arsenal for it, and we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, I've been enjoying your videos. I mean, that Saint Vincent you showed, mass education or mass seduction.
Mass seduction, yeah.
And the Archer album. I listened.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
I have to pick them up because they're good.
Oh, dude, there's nothing like when someone getting into an album because of you. That's like such a good feeling. That Mass Seduction is like, it's one of our favorites. My wife loves it. And I mean, that album is amazing. You know, and that Archer album too is super unique. You know, I don't, there may be other people doing what she's doing, but it's nothing I've heard. I love that it's like 60s psychedelic. I don't even know. Love songs. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of female artists in my in my collection, and those two just I really like those a lot. And my favorite album from last year was that Sharon Van Etten. If you don't have that, it's worth checking out.
Oh, I will.
It's great. She kind of reminds me of PJ Harvey a little bit. Are you familiar with her?
No, I mean, I know the name, of course, but I've never gotten into female artists except for I was really big into Tori Amos's Boys for Pele.
Mhm.
And I wish I had that. I probably would have shown it today. And that's I love that album, but
Yeah,
um,
same for me,
it's
dude.
a genre, not a genre, but I've been getting into female artists recently and really trying to up my game. So I really appreciate a lot of it. And
Yeah, for
there's
me,
some really good.
it was Fiona Apple and Tori Amos. Those were the
Yeah.
two female artists.
Yeah. Yeah, Fiona too. She's grown on me. I recently ordered her new one, and then when the Pawn finally got pressed, it had never been pressed before, so I ordered that as well. And then, of course, Tidal. Everyone has that.
Yeah, yeah. I got that through the Vinyl Me Please. I signed up for Vinyl Me Please just for that album.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I got mine through them too.
The other artist, I guess, would be Alanis Morissette. She's the only other.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess the
I
crazy.
oh Cranberries, man, dude. Oh, Dolores. I loved Dolores in that video. I think I always had a really big crush on her.
Yeah.
I can still go back and watch that video for Zombie, and I got the guttural quality to her voice at times. It gives you like goose flesh. Like, I love that song. I love that album.
So here's that album. You get a chance to check it out. This is Sharon Van Etten.
Okay. I've been seeing it around, and I just haven't. I hadn't listened to it yet. It's so hard to keep up with everything coming out. But I will give that a listen. I know it was on a few people's like top of the year list.
Yeah, it came out in January of 2019. I streamed it all year and finally just bit the bullet and bought it in December. And I'm kicking myself for not having it before that. This sounds great on vinyl.
I'll have to give that a listen. All right, man. Well, my dogs are starting to need their walks, so I'm gonna. But let's message me. Let's figure out the next one.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right.
Video. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you guys. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.